Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we actually have some pretty fun Switch 2 news. After all this time, we keep on seeing these little breadcrumbs that keep on going towards our way. And in case you guys haven't had a chance to go and see, we have seen that the Switch 2 has been having a lot of really good, proper leaks. Number one is that we actually had someone who was actually taken down by Nintendo who did go and bring up the fact that they actually might be starting production, or at least kind of working on like the actual production design for an upcoming Switch Pro, Super Switch, Switch 2, or whatever you guys want to go call it. And as well, we also had some other folks as well mention some other industry contacts. We also had some folks as well go and mention that their game companies, as they're working with like contracts through Nintendo, are also kind of looking into different type of game engines to go and expand out the console. And as well, basically, that probably means there's something in the works, because if it's not just the pure Switch and it's something brand new, all these little random things put together are making people a bit more skeptical and kind of curious on what's going to turn into. Now, for this, we actually have even more cool news, because now the Nintendo boss has also been hinting at some very peculiar things in regards to a brand new Switch surprise, and as well, also in regards to a brand new potential console coming. So we're going to go and try to read in between the lines, talk about some actual cool, I guess, investment type stuff, and as well, hope you guys will sit back, relax, and enjoy. As well, if any of you guys are brand new, make sure you guys are subscribe with the notifications on. We have the Twitter and Twitch stream down below. We have the Target Amazon links too, and I appreciate you guys all so much for watching. So let's go and dive on in to this one. So if you guys kind of missed some of this stuff, if you guys don't know, Nintendo has always had a very peculiar way of announcing and talking about some stuff, and they sometimes like to go and shadow drop, or at least kind of maybe have it in the works. Would make a lot of sense too for an upcoming console, because as you guys saw, with this really big supply chain issue where that it even affected the Switch itself that was, out for multiple years, and they probably want to have enough stockpile, so whenever they do make a Switch 2, Switch Pro, or Super Switch, that they're probably going to go and have a lot stockpile to go and sell a few million almost instantaneously. So for this one, Nintendo of America boss Doug Bowser himself was recently asked about a Nintendo Switch successor and what he would like to go and see from it. And especially now that the Switch sales have been slowly going down, I think a lot more folks are peculiar on it. Because as of right now, sometimes the PlayStation or even Xbox have been outselling the Switch. Although the Switch has been a massive truck and it's very hard to outsell, it does kind of seem like the momentum has been slowing down, both from, well, not as many good games, not as big like AAA games, no kind of mainstead like either Zelda or Mario games, although we do have Tears of the Kingdom coming out soon, and everything in between. And of course, some people are getting skeptical as well because, well, they need to have a better hardware for better games to keep up with everything. So more specifically, they actually were asked by an investor in an investor questions, a little bit more of like a serious rather than like just a random kid over at Disney World, the answer about the next Nintendo console. Bowser himself quickly redirected the conversation to the success of the Switch, which is, smart, and in the process teased that Nintendo will look to build upon the success with a surprise or two. According to Bowser, how to surprise and delight is always at the front of Nintendo's mind. Now, this is where I'm getting a little bit more intriguing, because we've been seeing a lot more leaks, a lot more rumors, and a lot more discourse talking about this next Switch, where it seems like it's overdue and it seems like people want it. And I myself would want one. I would, like, you guys leave a comment down below. Would you guys go buy your own next future Switch? I myself would. So they go and say, I should be careful about what I personally would like to see in a new Switch. But what I can share is one of the reasons that even going into year 7, we feel very confident that the Switch can have a strong performance over the next few years is that it's truly a unique device that you can play in a variety of ways at home or on the go, said Bowser. One of the things we look at always is how can we surprise and delight? How can we introduce new unique ways of playing? That's always in the front of our mind. It's obviously a very trained in PR type of statement as expected. However, the way Bowser talks up the Switch and its uniqueness in relation to what's next for Nintendo seems to hint that a Switch successor, not just a beefed up Switch. It sounds like what is next from Nintendo will have a surprise or two, should be expected at this point. Every time you think you know what Nintendo is doing, it catches you by surprise. So let's go talk about this a little bit more of a deeper, talk. So, one kind of big thing to note is that a lot of folks are kind of rumored on the Switch Pro. That's kind of what they were saying on this one. Where the Switch Pro would be like a nice mid-generation push where it's still the Switch and Switch branding, but kind of how we had like the PS4 to PS4 Pro. Same thing, slightly better specs, you can play on both, and that would make a lot of sense too with how big the Nintendo Switch's install base would be. But as well, I'm going to be kind of curious too, because if they're trying to go work on brand new architectures, that's a big thing where, if like I said, they're literally having leaks that people are working on other games that are not specifically purely Nintendo-based, like Switch-based, which is probably why we're gonna have a Switch 2 maybe, or something new. That's a big kind of headlight right there, because that means that they're working on something else and they're developing on something else too on top of that, which I think is very nifty. But then I think the secondary thing as well is very intriguing, because we're also mentioning this brand new one or two major changes. Now, if you guys have kind of seen other consoles, so think the Wii was all motion controlled coming up from the GameCube. And with that, it had that very unique, like, the little motion sensor, people doing like those games like Wii Sports, and it kind of was different. It was a good success, but it was different. Then right afterwards, we also had the Wii U, which had a very similar vibe too, with this like weird touchpad. Definitely was before the Switch's time. Like, it just was not the right time. Was probably why they went for the Switch. Like, some guy in a big boardroom was probably like, no, this is a good idea, just bad timing. Maybe the technology got a lot better. It could be slimmed down more or whatever. But once again, that was another big thing where I had like the touch screen and movement controls and like kind of like these weird, like you can like move the console around like this to aim. I think I remember that in Splatoon. And that's kind of like the unique twist. Then we also had the Switch, where the Switch had the two Joy-Cons to go and remove, to go play games and like, have like multiplayer if you want, or make it like also maybe movable. Like, we've actually saw some pretty big changes. So that also leads into the fact of, if they want to make something new and major, they're not going to go and say, oh, it's going to be like one of these weird accessories. Like, they've sold accessories a lot. Good examples, maybe like the cardboard box things, or like like the Mario little race card thing, you know what I mean? So with this, if they're trying to go also have brand new big one or two new features, once again, that's pretty much what happened on the prior consoles. There's usually one or two big major thing that's still similar. There's always been like the similar vibe. Like, a good example is the GameCube and the Wii. You were still able to go play literal GameCube games on the Wii. Like, it's still a gaming console. You still were able to use like a very similar controller. Or once again, like the Wii U to the Switch. Like, a lot of these popular games on the Wii U are literally games that are on the Switch. Like, a good example is like Mario Kart. That was a Wii U game first. Or Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. That was also on Wii and also launched on the Switch. But at the same time, it's like a big thing to know. So I kind of think in my expectations from this one, with all the other leaks and rumors and everything else, is that they're probably going to maybe go for a brand new Switch console. And that would make sense. I mean, they still could do a Switch Pro. It'd probably be the easier route, because then people could also still use the normal Switch and then have a dual, install base. But I really wouldn't be that surprised seeing a Switch 2. Because don't forget, if the sales keep on slowing down, and most folks are probably happy with their current Switch, what would you do to make them have another console? You go have some random, crazy, wacky new thing that has brand new things involved. Such as, like, say, Switch 2. I have no idea on the speculation side of what they could add, but, like, I don't know, maybe there's, like, a built-in Wi-Fi so you can always connect with people. I don't know. I think the Switch is actually going to be a hard console to go on top, and that'd be a separate video for a separate thing if we ever want to do more research on it, but, like, I feel like it'll probably be something to do with mobile. They've been pushing really hardcore into mobile gaming, and then maybe even just almost want to make a Switch 2 where it's almost the exact same thing, just with better hardware, and maybe like one or two big switches. Maybe like a good example, maybe be like a webcam, so you maybe do webcam gaming in the middle of your console. I don't know. They've had things like that in the 3DS. You can take pictures and photos. There's always that small chance for that. Or as well, there might be other various things could not tell you as of right now. Maybe just better motion controls, gyro controls. There's a lot of potential options. Maybe projectors. I have literally no idea what Nintendo might do, because they are a little bit of the wild card. Like, we think of the PlayStation or Xbox, we just know they're going to go and end up making a gaming console that works. So I'm a little bit intrigued on this one, but we've been seeing a lot more, because we've even been seeing rumors since 2020 on what they could be doing and what they could be making and everything in between. As I mentioned too, there's been a lot of big issues with the supply issues, and the fact that we've been kind of making this and working on this, Nintendo still has not confirmed. But right now, it does seem like the console is getting dated, and it does seem like the OLED might be a nice filler for a little bit, but that is already 2 years old at this point, and people are still expecting and critiquing Nintendo for having such bad, like, graphics and resolutions and everything in between, which would kind of make a little bit of sense. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I'm kind of actually a little bit sad about it. I want to have something better as well. And at the same time, too, people just want to have a better things. He says there's nothing announced, too, but he feels really bullish about the current model, where it's saying we're in uncharted territory with the platform, too, and they're excited to see the demand is still there, but they really want to go and push for something new, and they just don't know when, where, or how. But it does kind of seem like them trying to do this brand new, like, introduction, and trying to go maintain, like, the hype behind it, and trying to keep it bullish, and everything in between probably means that they're going to want to keep their console going for as long as possible. And as well, if they can somehow simul-sell stuff, kind of how PlayStation's are doing with the PS4 and PS5, they probably will. So I do think that the Switch 2 is going to be coming sooner rather than later. It may just be completely skipping a Switch Pro, which would also make sense, but there must be something unique that they're holding back, and I'm sure all these really big executives at Nintendo are probably going to laugh whenever they do release their console in the near future. So give me your thoughts and comments on the upcoming Switch 2 whenever that does go and happen. And as well, make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on. We have the Twitter and Twitch room down below if you guys want to follow. We have the Target links, we have the Amazon links, and everything else in between. And you guys are all lovely and beautiful. We'll talk to you guys all throughout today for more videos.